Zambia's former president and one of Africa's few surviving liberation heroes, Kenneth Kaunda, has died at the age of 97.
President Kaunda, please come forward.
KK, as he was popularly known, was being treated for pneumonia at a military hospital in Lusaka. Kaunda, who championed Africa's struggles against apartheid and HIV, ruled Zambia for 27 years from 1964, when the Southern African nation won independence from Britain, until 1991. Although Zambia's copper-based economy fared badly under his long stewardship, Kaunda will be remembered more for his role as an anti-colonial fighter who stood up to white minority-ruled South Africa. Authorities have declared 21 days of mourning for the liberation hero.
On Tuesday, Nicolas Sarkozy arrived at what would turn out to be his only hearing in a trial which began almost a month ago. Now the prosecution has made their recommendation. They're requesting a fine of €3,750 and a year's prison sentence, half of which would be suspended as punishment for the former president overspending on his campaign.
Clearly, Nicolas Sarkozy regrets nothing because he only came to one hearing. This behaviour, to believe you do not have to answer to the law like every other citizen, is in keeping with what he was like during the presidential campaign.
Prosecutors allege Sarkozy's party spent nearly €43 million during his 2012 campaign, double the amount permitted under electoral law. A public relations firm known as Pygmalion was hired to cover it up.
The U.S. and Russia do agree that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon, and both countries are watching this election very carefully. It is almost a certainty that a hardline cleric named Raeisi will be elected. He is a favorite of the Ayatollah. There were some enthusiastic rallies for him this week, but the majority of Iranians say they won't vote because moderate candidates were disqualified from the race. Now, Raeisi does support the Iranian nuclear deal that President Biden is trying to revive. But if this hardliner is elected, it could make it more difficult to get a tougher and longer deal, which could slow everything down.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has warned of potential confrontation with the United States. That's according to the North state media on Friday. In his first comments directed at the Biden administration, Kim stressed the need for both talks and confrontation with the U.S. in order to, quote, protect the dignity of our state and its interests for independent development. He also emphasized the need to create a favorable external climate for the North's own initiatives. Kim's remarks came during a Thursday meeting of the ruling Workers' Party after an earlier session where he called for measures to tackle a tense food situation caused by the global health crisis.
Throngs of supporters gather at Abidjan's airport to welcome a former president. Laurent Gbagbo back at home for the first time in nearly a decade. The 76-year-old's homecoming made possible after current President Alassane Ouattara helped facilitate the return. According to the former president's attorney, who traveled with him from Brussels, Laurent Gbagbo wants to play a role in reconciling the country. Ivory Coast was pushed to the brink of civil war after he failed to recognize the outcome of elections in 2010. Over 3,000 people were killed in post-election violence. It resulted in his arrest and transfer to the International Criminal Court. For his supporters, his presence is needed to help the country turn the page.
This is a bicycle protest in Mexico City. Demonstrations like these over an alarming death toll among cyclists are becoming exceedingly common. Activists say so far this year, at least 22 people have been killed while riding in the city. A white bike frame represents another victim from a traffic accident. This one is for a 13-year-old boy named Rodrigo, killed in a hit-and-run in April. The boy's mother, Paola, says she has since become an activist to seek justice for other victims of traffic crimes. Public safety advocates say a culture of corruption and impunity means crimes on the road too often go unpunished. Last year, there were 278 fatalities linked to road accidents in Mexico City alone, according to government statistics.
A reckless PR stunt or a climate awareness campaign gone horribly wrong. A Greenpeace protester inches away from crashing his propelled paragliding craft into the crowd shortly before kickoff at Tuesday's game between Germany and France. As you can see here in this video, the German activist was parachuting into the open-roof stadium in Munich when his craft collided with wires supporting an overhead camera. He then lost control and hurled towards the ground, sending players and spectators running for cover before crash landing on the pitch. At least 2 people were injured.
We're talking about a Royal Caribbean ship that was supposed to sail on July 3rd. That has now been pushed to July 31st. And this is why. 8 crew members tested positive on that ship. 6 were asymptomatic. 2 had mild symptoms. All of them had been vaccinated. But this is really important. They tested positive before those vaccines were fully effective. This was supposed to be that ship's inaugural sailing. Meanwhile, the cruise line also now saying it will require vaccines for all passengers boarding in the U.S., except from Florida ports. Royal Caribbean says vaccines are only strongly recommended from Florida. Of course, Governor Ron DeSantis and the CDC are still arguing over that right.